You're welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be showing you how I make my button necklace here. My button necklace, Ankara button necklace. And these are the materials needed. I have my fabric. I have the button. I use size 44, and then I also have the warden. I have satin material. I use the satin material to cover the back of the warden. I also use it to cover the front of the warden. I also have what's it called, fringes. I have the hot glue gun and the hot glue wax. I have my press buttonhole machine, some fringes, and then scissors for cutting. Let's get right into the video. So I'm going to cut out circles, some circles like this. I'm going to cut out circles of the fabric, and then I'm going to pick one of the cover button, the silver parts, and then I'll neatly fold the excess of the the fabric I cut into it like this, the way it is in the video, and then I'm going to use that part to cover it up. Ensure that you fold it in a way that it doesn't have bulges, it doesn't have any rough edges standing out. And then, like I said, I'm using the mold I'm using is size 44. I'm going to go ahead and then place this into this and then cover it up. Go ahead and then press it. Ensure that you press very well. You can just hit 2 times, you can hit more than 2 times. Just ensure that you press very well. When you press it very well, it comes out looking fine like this. It comes out neat and there are no bulges coming out. I'm going to just repeat this same process and pattern for as many buttons I want to use. Now for a small size necklace, I use about 55 to 60 buttons, and then for a big one like the one I'm going to be showing you in this video, I use about 100 plus buttons. So just go ahead and cover them like this and we are good to go. I understand that some of my viewers might not have the pressing button, and that might be a challenge. So I did this particular part to show you what to do, just in case you don't have the pressing button machine. This was what I used to do before I finally got the pressing button machine. I use candle wax gum. Yes, I'm going to attach a little bit of the candle wax inside, just a little bit. You don't need so much. You can use the candle wax gum, or you can use UHU gum. Apply a little bit at the middle there, apply a little bit at the edges, and then in the middle of the of the cover button, and then I'm just going to just fold in. Ensure that you fold in properly so that everything gets tucked inside. Still ensure that you are controlling the the candle wax, so that it doesn't spill and leave any stains. Remember, this is candle wax you're using, right? So it can dry up quickly, but so ensure that you do this wrapping on time and ensure that it's looking neat before you go ahead to press it. This is for people who do not have the buttonhole machine. It is still the same pattern. Now what do I do when I'm done? I apply some candle wax gum again. If you're using for this particular part, I don't recommend who gum because it won't hold. You can use candle wax gum like I'm using, or use a stronger kind of gum that is going to hold. I'm going to hold this down a bit and then I'll allow it to dry up. When it dries up, it's always it's firm. It's quite firm. What I'm going to be doing next is that I'm going to be cutting off the the part where you're supposed to use to sew your cover button to your fabric. Let us me using this for your fabric. You're supposed to be cutting that bulge out so that I have them all flat and even, like all flat and even. I'm going to take some time to cut all of them out. Okay, so this is me showing you the one I did with the candle wax gum. As you can see, it's not removing, and that's because I used a good number of I used some good quantity of the wax. I did not just drop a bit there. I ensured that I used a good quantity. Now moving on, I'm going to take the warden, and then I'm going to be using I'm going to be using my candle wax gum again. Remember I showed you who gum at the beginning, but I prefer to always work with candle wax gum. It's always easier for me. So I'm going to use my candle wax gum, and I'm going to overlay the black parts. I'm going to overlay the black parts, and the black part I'm referring to here is my satin. I'm using satin, so I'm just going to what's it called, go ahead and press that down. See the way I did, I notched the fabric so that it can give it space for me to fold in, and then it can fold in properly without leaving any bulge, right? So just go ahead and finish this neatly. When you are done, I always still use black material to cover this white part that is still showing, because I don't want the fabric, I don't want my my necklace to have any white part showing when I'm done. If I can lay my hand on a black wadding, I'm going to be using that. I actually use black wadding when I can lay my hands on black wadding, right? They actually have black wadding in the market. So when I can lay my hands on black wadding, I use that and don't bother covering anything. The reason I'm covering is because I'm using a white wadding in this what's it called, in this particular tutorial. So if you have a black wadding, you don't have to cut. But if it's white that you use, I always advise that you go ahead and use a black fabric to still cover the top of it. In case you are wondering how I got this base that I'll be working with, I used a very big bowl flat plate to get the down base, that's the down part, the bigger part, and then I used a soup plate to get the neck circumference. In another video, I'm going to be showing you how to actually do that, but I'm just explaining this so that in case you want to try already, you don't have an excuse why you should not try. I use a soup plate, a flat soup plate or a bigger bowl to get the down part. I just place it on my warden and draw that out, then use a smaller plate to get the circumference for the neck region. Now I'll take this to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew. Now I'm done sewing, and I've also attached the black part that I'm talking about. So as you can see, no white is showing. I'll ensure that I just attach that neatly and cut off any extra from that neck region. Any extra fabric that is bulging out or popping out, I'll just cut it out. And I'm going to continue by placing my buttons one by one using the candle wax gum. To do this, I'll place my buttons on this frame that I have created. Ensure that you apply a good quantity of the candle wax gum so that it holds. But even while doing that, ensure that you are mindful and watchful so it doesn't spill or over exceeds where it's supposed to lap. If it does, it's going to be showing some white, that like the when the canvas is dried, right, there's this white patch that I used to have. So if you don't place it properly, if you're not mindful, it's going to show. So ensure that you apply a good quantity so that it stays strong, but in so doing ensure that it's not also excess so it doesn't spill. Now the way I attach, I don't do one and then do the next one. If you watch closely, you see that I'm actually lapping them on each other. I'm lapping the next piece, the next button on the previous one that is already there. So like I already explained, I'll just continue to add glue and lay the button on top of each other and ensure that it touches the black part. Just carefully watch what I'm doing and you'll be able to get it. I didn't know that this wasn't so close. I would have adjusted my ring lights so that it can zoom it in. So see what I did here. I did not place it directly on the black part. I placed a part of it on the button, on the previous button, and then the other part on the black part. So I'm going to apply glue like all round, but when I'm placing it, I'm going to place it in a way that the part that has glue touches both the button and then the black part. I hope you understand that. I'll just continue to attach the buttons like this, and as I'm moving, the number of buttons I attach per line is going to be increasing. I was unable to video that part, so I'm going to use this smaller one to show you how to finish it up. Now this is how to make a small one, right? Have the fringe, and it's a smaller size, right? But it's the same process to get this one done too. So I'm just going to attach the buttons until I get to the end of it. Notice how for the bigger one I started with 2 buttons, but for this small one I'm starting with just 1 button. After one I increase to 2. So the more the space I have on the frame of the more space I have on the frame of the necklace, the more buttons I get to add. So some lines can have like 3 buttons, 4 buttons. Just ensure that you are covering it properly, so no part is open or is showing. You will do this till you get to the end of the what we call the neck piece. Now if you also look at this very well, you will notice that I already attached the rope that I'm using to tie. Now what I do is, before I begin to attach the button on it, I go ahead to take a piece of fabric, black to be precise, and then make a strip, make a strip of rope that I now go ahead and sew. I sew this part to the frame of the necklace. I sew it first. I even do this sometimes before I attach the black part that I'm using to cover the white. If I'm using what's it called, a wording that is white, right? Before, when I'm done with that, I now go ahead and attach the buttons like this, and I'm absolutely done with the job. This is how it looks. This is what it looks like. I'm certain this will be a very easy tutorial for you to practice. If you love this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, leave a comment. If there's a video you want me to film, kindly leave a comment, and see you in my next video. All right, bye.